In the news this week, heartbreak for West Coast Eagle fans after the Hawks took out the AFL Grand Final. We have a special report tonight.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lung and Daniel Staniskov.
Good evening. WA football fans are devastated after the West Coast Eagles fell short against Hawthorn in the Grand Final. Cecilia Faustina joins us from Subiaco Oval. Cecilia, some somber scenes across WA this week.
Yes, Ivan, there are a lot of disappointed West Coast supporters across the state after the Fell Club's gallant efforts against Hawthorn. The Hawks beat the Eagles in their third consecutive premiership. Heartache for Eagle fans in Perth. The Eagles were gallant but gutted, beaten by the club that denied them their first chance at Grand Final glory 14 years ago. Hawthorn's victory caps off a historic three-peat of premierships beginning in 2013.
In the end, is pretty much what happens in games like that is they took most of their chances, didn't really fumble the ball, used the ball well, and unfortunately it just didn't quite work for us on the day.
Eagle fans made an early start at Domain Stadium hours before the opening bounce at the MCG to back their club.
It was a great crowd, it was really fun today, but it's really disappointing.
It's unfortunate, yes it is, but you know what, still proud Eagle supporter.
But Hawthorn fans leaving at the end of the afternoon with something to crow
about. It's the best feeling ever, 3 in a row. Hasn't been done since Brisbane Lions in 2003.
Hawthorn was presented with the cup, but for Eagles, there's always next year.
I'm joined by sports journalist and commentator Christian Dwyer from Melbourne. So Chris, what do you make of the match?
Yes, thank you Danielle. It was an absolutely dominant performance by the Hawthorn Hawks over the West Coast Eagles. Hawthorn running at 46-point winners here at the MCG. It was one for the ages, really showing that Hawthorn have been the most dominant side in the last 10 years. In particular, Cyril Rioli was talismanic for the Hawthorn Hawks, and really his performance was one to watch throughout the game. On top of that, the Eagles now have the long trip home, but they can be quite pleased with their performance this year. They didn't go out without a fight in the third quarter. They did start to come back, but when you got players like Hodge, Sean Muckers, Mitchell running the show, it was always going to be a Hawthorn win, and for that, there's a lot of happy people. There is a happy team in Hawthorn today.
Hundreds of demonstrators rallied on Stirling Bridge demanding an end to live animal export. Protesters stated their opposition towards the trade by holding placards. Meanwhile, organisers claimed that more than 900 people attended the demonstration.
We'll keep pressure on the government leading up to the next federal election, whenever that is, any time from now until November next year. Let the politicians that support live export know that we don't support them. So oppose those who support it, support those who oppose it.
Perth is embracing Mahatma Gandhi's presence by bringing in a multimedia museum in a first-time attempt outside of India. The project, supported by the City of Perth, aims to promote Gandhi's philosophy of peace and equality. Project President Nilesh Makwana said the Perth was the perfect destination for it and deserved a spot in the limelight.
And today is the first time the public will hear about the project, and we are putting it out there, and we already have gathered quite a lot of support for it.
At least 7 people were killed and 6 people were injured after another deadly shooting at a school in the United States. The 20-year-old gunman was shot dead by police after a shootout in the campus building. The incident happened in Rosenberg, a city located 300 kilometers south of Portland. It's reported that FBI has sent agents to the scene to investigate the mass killing.
Our thoughts and prayers are not enough. It does not capture the heartache and grief and anger that we should feel. And it does nothing to prevent this carnage from being inflicted someplace else in America.
Volkswagen's US Chief Executive Michael Horn will face the US Congress Oversight Panel in the next few days to explain the automobile giant's emissions transgressions. An investigation was launched after VW admitted cheating on US diesel emission tests. The EPA responded swiftly by toughening up emission tests, which could increase vehicle prices and bring down fuel economy figures.
And on Newsnight this week with Blake Danielzak, Jim Wilson from 7 News Sydney discussed the Justin Hodges NRL judiciary saga. You can hop online to listen to the podcast or tune to Yas FM every Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. Before we go, just a reminder that our weekly bulletins will be taking a 2-week break. In the meantime, you can follow the latest news on our website and Facebook.
We look forward to seeing you after the break. Until then, from both of us, good night.
Good night.